Hi everyone, welcome to our class on Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer is probably one of the most auspicious days found on the Jewish calendar. And it is very interesting that it's not a biblical holiday, it's not a rabbinic holiday, it's barely mentioned in the Code of Jewish Law, the Shulchan Aruch. Where it is mentioned to have a sort of celebration is the Talmud. And the Talmud actually tells us that the reason for the celebration of Lag BaOmer is because that is when the students of Rabbi Akiva stopped dying. And short story is that the students of Rabbi Akiva were dying during this entire period of 33 days of the Omer, starting from right after Passover. And they stopped dying on the 33rd day of the Omer, called Lag BaOmer. Now, after that, Rabbi Akiva, after the death of 24,000 students, started over again and actually brought together 5 new students. One of them was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And that is the first source, again, found in the Talmud for the celebration. It's the day that the students of Rabbi Akiva stopped dying. The next source is the writings of the Ari. In the Pri Chaim, Rabbi Chaim Vital writes that his great master, the Arizal, brought his son, who was then 3 years old, and brought him to Rabbi Shimon's tomb in Meron, traveling from Tzfat to Meron, and spent there approximately 5 days and cut his hair, celebrated his birthday, 3rd birthday, that is called an upshernish or a chalakab, where his hair was cut over there, celebrating with a great mystic, celebrating the Hilula, what is called, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So, jumping right in, number 1, Hilula. What does this word Hilula mean? Hilula literally translates as wedding. And this celebration, Kabbalistically, the celebration of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai of Lag BaOmer has to do with a wedding celebration. What is the connection of the wedding celebration? So, at the end of Rabbi Shimon's life, where Rabbi Shimon was with his students, it's brought down in the Zohar called the Idra, that in the Idra it says over there, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, I will now reveal the deepest secrets and mysteries that were ever revealed. In my entire life, Rabbi Shimon says, I was connected to the oneness, to the unity of the Creator. Bechad katirna it katarna. I was bound to the oneness of the Creator. But now, I'm actually on a level which is much higher than that. And on that day, the last day of his life, on Lag BaOmer, literally, he revealed the greatest mysteries of creation in this book of the Idra Zuta, and where it says that the sun did not set until Rabbi Shimon said that now is the time that I'm ready to go. And Rabbi Shimon lay down on a bed, and the bed was literally carried from that place called the Idra, not far from where Rabbi Shimon is buried now in Meron. Literally flew over. That's what the students of Rabbi Shimon recount in the Zohar, that the bed of Rabbi Shimon flew and then found itself inside of the little cave where he is buried. And so this last day of his life, Rabbi Shimon says that now I'm ready to go up to my Creator. I'm now in this mode of unity, of extreme unity, of extreme oneness. And the explanation is, what is the idea of a wedding? The idea of a wedding, literally, we've got a boy, we've got a girl, we've got a bride and groom that lived in perhaps different parts of the world, perhaps they were neighbors, whatever the case is. The fact that they came together is an absolute miracle. And the fact that things work out is an absolute miracle. So the whole idea of a wedding is the idea of the ultimate level of unity and a really a reunification of two halves of the same body. And so too, a tzaddik, literally a tzaddik, a holy person, feels that oneness with the Creator their entire life. Rabbi Shimon says, "Bechad katirna itkatarna beilahita beachita," that Rabbi Shimon was completely one with the Creator. It's as if he was married to God. He had that extreme unity revealed within him every single day of his life. But the last day of his life, it went a notch higher. And there, Rabbi Shimon was elevated to the highest pedestal possible for a human being and became completely unified in a way that we can not fathom. And so this day of celebration of Lag BaOmer is associated with that oneness, with that unity of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And all those that go to the resting place of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai are not as if they are going to a wedding celebration. And therefore, this day is such a joyous day. It's a day of just rejoicing, which is above nature. It's just like a wedding. A wedding is just, everybody's happy at a wedding. Everybody's happy because it's a miracle that we have these two opposites coming together. And there's nothing like going to a wedding. And so this level of wedding is a level of the ultimate spiritual wedding possible, that Rabbi Shimon really becomes one, or is one, on a higher level than ever before. And every single year we know that on the day of the Hilula there's a reenactment, so to speak, of the entire life journey that the person went through, their entire life, and everything that they did in their lifetime comes together, culminates on that last day of their life. And therefore the day of the passing, called a yortzeit, or called a Hilula, literally for tzaddikim, is a day that we remember the deceased and remember everything that they did in a way that everything is within a point. Everything is within one concentrated area. And so Lag BaOmer is that day, is that concentrated energy that the entire life journey, life force of, and everything that Rabbi Shimon really stood for becomes expressed. So every single year we are in this wedding celebration. If we think of Rabbi Shimon, we want to connect to Rabbi Shimon, and especially if we go and we travel to the resting place of Rabbi Shimon, the tomb of Rabbi Shimon in Meron, then we become that much more connected. We're that much more one with this wedding celebration. So, Hilula. Number 2, open my eyes and I will see secrets from your Torah. Gal einai ve'abita niflaot mitoratecha. There are a number of illusions to Lag BaOmer, and one of them, what is the idea of Lag BaOmer? Lag BaOmer is the letters Gal. Gal literally means to reveal. And the verse which is found in Psalms is, King David writes in Psalm 119, Gal einai ve'abita niflaot mitoratecha. And he asks the Creator that he should take off literally the whatever is obscuring his eyes, and now to reveal secrets from your Torah. And so Lag BaOmer is connected to this verse called Gal. And Gal comes from the word, well actually we know the Galilee, the Galil. It's not by any chance that Rabbi Shimon decided to go to the Galil, because the Galil, the Galilee, has to do with also revealing these great secrets. Also the Galil is from the word Golah. Gal could also be Golah, could also be exile, and to reveal the exile, to reveal the hiddenness is exactly the purpose of what Rabbi Shimon came down to do in this world, to reveal these immense secrets of creation. And now, so let's just go into this verse a little bit more in greater detail. So, Gal einai, King David says, open up my eyes, va'eni niflaot mitoratecha, and show me wonders from your Torah. So it's not just one wonder, but it says niflaot is in plural. Show me wonders from your Torah. And the explanation as brought down in various sources is that niflaot, that the word nifla literally stands for wonder. Nifla comes from the root word of pele, of wonders. I want to see wonders. But niflaot, two wonders, have to do with razin, secrets, and we have razin de razin. We've got secrets of secrets. Two levels of secrets. And so the Torah is compared to different types of foods. It's actually compared to bread. King David writes in a different place that Torascha betoch me'ai and lechem lechu lachmu belachmi. It's compared to bread. And then it's also compared to water. And those two aspects are compared to the revealed aspects of Torah. And then we go to milk. Milk is the oral Torah, just like the milk comes from the mother, and the mother nurses the baby. And so too, the oral Torah comes from the feminine side. And there's the Torah shebechtav, there is the written Torah, and there is the oral Torah. And the oral Torah goes into the depth of what the written Torah is really talking about. And so there's a deeper revelation via milk. And then we go a little bit more than that, and we go into wine. And wine is secrets. And we go over here to the mystical aspects. So while the oral Torah reveals the intention of the written Torah on a what we call nigle on a revealed level, the mystical aspects of the Torah now bring out the greater depth of what the written Torah is really talking about. And it's going into the mysteries of the revealed aspects of Torah. That from the revealed aspects of Torah, there is actually great mysteries. And so we could take, for example, the Chumash, the regular Bible that we call, open it up and read it, and we could think that we're reading stories, we're reading laws, we're reading history, etc. No, it's actually secrets. There are secrets that are there from within the revealed aspect of Torah. And that is true within our lives. That the truth is that within the revealed aspect of our lives, within the mundane, there is such depth that is always there. And it takes the right type of vision to see that. And that our lives essentially are completely miraculous every way we look at it. The minor things in life, as well as the major things in life, are all really extremely miraculous and above our understanding. And so by revealing those secrets, and in order to reveal those secrets, we have to first reveal them within the Torah. And so being connected to the secrets of Torah brings out those secrets also within our lives. And so Rabbi Shimon did not just reveal the secrets of the Torah, razin, but rather niflaot. Let me see pele within pele, secrets within secrets, called razin de razin. And the comparison to that is the comparison to oil. So we've got wine, which is secrets, as it says, nichnas yain yatsa sod. Wine goes in, secrets come out. But then even above wine is the level of oil, because we know that oil always rises to the top. Oil is the razin de razin, secrets of secrets. And in the famous song of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, You're compared to oil to all of your friends. All of your friends, the great Tanaim, the holy Tanaim, are all the level of wine, milk, water, bread, etc. But you are compared to oil, rising above all of them. As Rabbi Akiva says that to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he said to him, says it's enough that just me and your Creator know who you are. And of course, that revelation of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who he was, right, is something that was revealed to us in the book of the Zohar, that revealed the Razin and Razin the Razin secrets of secrets. And so it's interesting that the Zohar is written on the portions of the Torah. It's not written on by different subjects, like for example the Talmud is written on different subjects. Rather, it's written right there on the portions of the Torah, the Gans Darim, the 53 portions. And that is really the depth of what King David says, Gal einai ve'abita niflaot mitoratecha, that open up my eyes and I will see, I will perceive great secrets from within your Torah, from within the actual written Torah, the 53 portions of the Torah. I will see those secrets from within it, but not just one secret. Niflaot is plural, Razin and Razin de Razin, secrets of secrets. So that is something that we also get when we are connected to the Torah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. When we're connected to the revelation of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai within the Zohar, within his famous book that was written by him, by his students, etc. We also have this great revelation. And the book of the Zohar is called Zohar from the word illumination, because the word is that really we are illuminated, our eyes are illuminated, gal einai, with the writings of the Zohar. And by the study of the Zohar and the applications of the Zohar, and by the writings of the Arizal and the Baal Shem Tov and the Baal HaTanya and Chassidus throughout, etc., we are connected to the Torah of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. As it says over there in the Zohar, Yitparnesun minei, that from this book of the Zohar is where others should study, and this study should become elaborated, and it should become more and more understood in greater depth to the mind of the person. So over here we see that the person themselves, gal einai, that my own eyes, that we individually have to do the job of working and to strive to understand. And when we strive to understand, then we are revealed these great secrets of the Torah. And via the study of the Zohar and Chassidus, we have this great gift that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai left to the world, left to each and every one of us. That all we have to do is open up our eyes and to study those great texts. The next big idea is separation and connection. So another source, which is brought down in the Sfarim, in the books, for Lag BaOmer, is that, again, from the word gal. The word gal means, as we said, to reveal, but gal also means a mound. And we find in the book of Bereshit, of Genesis, that when Jacob runs away from the house of Lavan after spending 20 years over there, he says enough is enough. And after Joseph is born, and they run away. And of course, Lavan, his father-in-law, does not know that Rachel stole from her father the idolatry that he was holding on to, because she wanted to separate him from idolatry. And so they run away. And Lavan reaches Jacob within a short time. Within one day, catches up to what they traveled in 6 days. And he starts rebuking Jacob for running away and for taking away his idolatry, etc. And so Jacob says, I've been working for you for all these years. Enough is enough. I want to start my own life. And he says this very sternly. And then Lavan says to Jacob, let's make a treaty. Let's put a gal, let's put a mound between us, that you won't come into my area and I won't go into your area. In other words, we're going to make a treaty. It's peaceful. We're not going to keep this. It's not going to persist. But we need to make a mound that's going to be a demarcation between our two auspices, Lavan's area and Jacob's area. And so the Alter Rebbe, the Baal Tanya, explains this in his famous Ma'amar discourse on Lag BaOmer. He explains that that everything in the Torah, that every personality that is found in the Torah is actually on the realm of holiness. And so Lavan comes from the word white. Lavan means white. And actually, he comes from the level of Loven HaElyon, from the great whiteness. And it's a very high level, higher than the world of Atzilut, called the Hilula, the great whiteness. And from there is where creation really emanated from. And Jacob represents, on a Kabbalistic level, the realm of now drawing down. That's why Jacob, Yaakov, is the letters Yud. Yud is that great letter of Chochmah, as we learned in our class on Chochmah. And then Yud Ekev, and it goes all the way to the heel. And so that idea of drawing all the way down is separated by a mound. And so we have the level of Gal, which separates Lavan, the great source of creation, with Jacob, because there needs to be a separation. This is called the tzimtzum, it's called the condensation. That if there would be that revelation, then essentially there wouldn't be a world and there wouldn't be a Jacob, essentially, to really reveal that. So that condensation, that gal, is very, very important. Now the Alter Rebbe continues that we know that there is a Lavan that is talked about in the Torah and on the positive level, but then there's the Lavan that is spoken about, and there is the lower Lavan. And the lower Lavan represents the level of, called Lavan ha'arami, Lavan the trickster, the Aramean. And now he is below Jacob. And now he is the source of the klipot, of the husks, of the negativity. And so there needs to be a mound between Jacob and Lavan. So now the gal, the mound, goes over there. And so where are these two mounds? And here the Alter Rebbe explains something so beautiful. He explains about Lag BaOmer, that on Lag BaOmer is the ability to draw from that place of Lavan HaElyon, that gal, and it's connected to what we said about gal einai niflaot mitoratecha, that mound of separation, that separates, that obscures, that conceals the revelation of godliness within this world, is now revealed. It now actually is able to reveal itself. And who did that? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The great Rashbi revealed those unbelievable secrets of the Torah, that now in this world, that Yaakov, that Jacob, within this world is able to connect to the highest levels of godliness. Down here within a body and within the world itself. And then there's also that lower level of gal, that gal, that Lavan, that separates Jacob and Lavan, is the revelation that actually, that the other side, that we call the realm of negativity, could now be transformed into positivity. That on the higher level, there's a revelation from above to below, but also there's a revelation that the below, that the world itself could transform even within its state, imperfect state, the trickster state, the love on the negative state is able to transform itself and to now have that revelation of the oneness of the unity of God and b'chad katir neit katarna, the oneness of that Rabbi Shimon actually felt. And so about this, the Talmud says that the entire life of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, there was never a bow, a rainbow, meaning that the world did not need the great kindness of God, of the Creator, to protect it, because the merit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai protected the entire generation. And so we know that the idea of the rainbow was first shown to Noah after the flood. And the idea of that is that after the flood, God says, I will never destroy the world ever again. And so the world did not need that protection from God, essentially, because they had that protection from the great consciousness of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that he infused within his generation. And during the generation of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, we had immense Torah scholars and tzaddikim and people on the highest levels that they revealed, and even children were studying these great mysteries of the Zohar. And so it was really a messianic level of a generation that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had. And throughout the Zohar, you constantly find the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai saying to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in his lifetime, says, woe to us that when you leave us, what will happen? Because the life mission of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is this revelation, gal, of the mound, to now reveal the highest mysteries, and the lower world should now be infused within the with these secrets, and that everyone in the world has the ability to connect to it. And the Talmud also says about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that Yachol ani liftor es ha'olam min adin, that I could absolve the entire world from judgment, that the whole world could be absolved from judgment because of my merit. And so obviously he did not say that in a egotistic kind of a way. He said that because that was true. Because what he was a channel of communication of the divine on the highest levels down here to this world. And so everything and everyone within the world, even on their lowest level, could be absolved from judgment. And even more than that, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said that I could absolve the entire world from judgment from its creation until the end of time. So something very, very powerful that he said. And of course, when we think about that great zechut, that great merit that he had, or who he was, complete humility, but yet extreme power and force on all levels, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai could absolve the entire world from judgment. And now it's important to note over here that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is brought down in the Zohar, is the nitzots of Moshe Rabbeinu, is the spark of Moses. That means that there's this level of soul, and there's a gilgul, right? But there's also a level of spark. And the spark of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is very close to the idea of a level of reincarnation when it comes to Rashbi, really means that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is essentially a level of Moses. And we know that Moses brought down the Torah, and the revealed level of Torah on Mount Sinai, on Shavuot. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai brought down the mystical, the secrets of the Torah. The Sod, the Razin of Razin brought down those secrets on what? On Lag BaOmer. So we've got these two sides really of the same person, Moshe Rabbeinu and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the revealed aspect of the Torah, the mystical, the secrets of the Torah. They both brought them down, but it's interesting to note that which one comes first, I guess, on the cycle of the year, not in terms of time, but in the cycle of the year. When we go through the year, we first actually come to Lag BaOmer, the mystical side of the Torah, because at that time of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and as we're getting closer and closer to the time of revelation, of that unity of God that's going to prevail within existence, that the idea of the Zohar, as is written in the Zohar, with this book you will come out of exile, right? Yifku migalusa, you will come out of exile, berachamim. So as we're coming closer and closer to that time of revelation, we are more and more in need of the study of Kabbalah, of Chassidus, and to become illuminated by that, so that we actually are connected to this mystical part of the Torah. Not to say that we don't need to be connected as much to the revealed aspects of Torah. Both are super important. But which one comes first? Meaning that on a certain level, the idea of connecting to Kabbalah, connecting to Chassidus, is so primary, especially nowadays, to reach the individual person on whatever level they're on the higher level, on the highest level, or on the lowest level, only comes about through the revelation of these mysteries that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai revealed on Lag BaOmer. And so it's brought down that we have these 49 days of the Omer, and the first part of the Omer, the 32 days of the Omer is Gematria Lev, which means heart, and then the remaining 17 is Tov, good, because after the 33rd day, we already have this level of good that we're able to taste once again, and taste those secrets of the revealed aspects of Torah and see that they are good. As the Torah is called good, Ru'u ki tov, the light is called good. Actually, Moses is called good, Tov, it's called Tuvia. And so we've got the ability to taste that good because we tasted from the fountain, from the secrets of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So now this brings us to number 4, Hod of Hod. The day of Lag BaOmer corresponds to the Sphira of Hod Shebehod. And this day of Hod Shebehod, the 33rd day of the Omer, on a Kabbalistic level, corresponds to the culmination of the counting of the Omer. And from Hod Shebehod and on, it's already considered that we already did our job. As we just said over here, on a certain level, after the 33rd day, we're already there. Why is that? Because according to Kabbalah, the 5th Sephira, the 5th emanation, called Hod, and check out our class on Hod in greater depth for that Hod is called, Netzach and Hod are called out of the body, because they're compared to the 2 thighs, to the 2 legs, which are technically out of the body. A person could exist, could live without their legs. But the idea on a Kabbalistic level is that the channeling of the Sphirot, of the 10 Sphirot, is brought down to, first to Netzach. There's the emotion on the 3 emotional parts of the person, which is Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. And then that's channeled down onto the level of the proactive part of the Sphirot, called Netzach and Hod. Fortitude and humility, or gratitude, etc. And when we take and we channel that Sephira chesed to the level of netzach, then the chesed and the kindness is not really felt in a palpable way. It's just the action that counts. That's what netzach is technically about. And hod is connected to the left side of the spherotic tree, to gevura. So then what is that all about? It's all about humility, and it's all about acknowledgement. And the person doesn't feel necessarily emotion so much as the action. And now that takes us to the definition, the inner definition of what hod is, which is acknowledgement. And I love that word acknowledgement because it's got the word knowledge inside of it. And what does acknowledgement mean? Right? Acknowledgement means that you recognize something or someone and you acknowledge them. Do you understand them? Or do you understand the major thing which is happening? You acknowledge that something good happened. You acknowledge a revelation of some sort. And that actually is a revelation which is above knowledge. So where one may feel something or have the knowledge on the higher level of the sefirot, on the realm of hod, one is acknowledging and one is humbled. And the way to express the acknowledgement and the humility is via gratitude. When one is grateful for what has happened, because everything is ultimately for the good, then one is connected to what? To all of the sefirot, to the highest levels. And that's why the sefira of hod actually on a certain level finishes the sefirot, because the sefirot are kind of done. You've acknowledged that, and that's very similar to the idea of kingship of Malchut, where everything has already been completed, but yet hod is connected to the highest echelons of the sefirot, going all the way up to the level of Lov and Elyon, all the way up to the level of Keter, because Keter, as we learned in our class of Keter, is called Reisha de lo Yisyada. It's the head which is unknowable to us. And so the unknowing requires acknowledging. And the acknowledging is being humble. And that is why hod is already the end of the sefirot. And now hod shebahod, hod within hod means the 33rd day, means that is the inner refinement of the fifth sefira. The fifth within the fifth means that it's already within its particles, within the individual parts of it, it's already completed. And so hod shebahod is really the end of the sefirot, and that is why the students of Rabbi Akiva stopped dying, because it's really the Omer cycle, which is sometimes associated with negativity, with judgment, etc., has now been completed. But it's not by chance that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai also died on that day and is connected to that day. It's that focal day. His entire life mission is now there on the concentrated level on that day of hod shebahod, because that really captures the essence of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is connected to the highest levels and is also connected to the lowest levels. Connected to like we said before, the lavan, the gal on the lowest level, and also connected to the gal on the highest level. And that is why, my friends, so many different people come to Meron, and so many people are connected to Rashbi, not just on the day of Lag BaOmer, but throughout the year. And so many people are awakening to the study of Kabbalah, to the depth of Kabbalah. Why? Because Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is not just some mystic that completely transcended the world. He is completely above the world, right? But yet, he is completely one within the world, within the lowest levels, connected to the lowest levels, and connected to those of us, all of us, that are on that low level within the generations of the low levels of generations being so far away from that heightened spiritual level that Rabbi Shimon was on, but yet we're connected to him. We're connected to that level because he was also on that level. So regardless of where a person is at, each and every one of us and each and every person in this world really has a connection to that light of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the light of Hod, the light of acknowledgement that we gain by the study of the Zohar. We could acknowledge by learning, and that brings us to a very practical acknowledgement to infuse that within our day-to-day, within our lives. So all of this really takes us to number 5, the customs. So although there are no mitzvot, there are no actual proactive connections that we could make on the day of Lag BaOmer as we do on other holidays, nevertheless, the customs of Lag BaOmer are very, very powerful. And so the two major customs that we have on Lag BaOmer is to play with the bow and arrow. And that's connected to the idea that we mentioned before, that the rainbow was not did not appear during the days of Rashbi and during his generation. And so we play with a bow and arrow to remind us of that great merit. And we want to have that energy also affect us and protect us as well. But also on a deeper level, the idea of the bow represents the idea of Hod, of humility. Because in order to take an arrow and to shoot it far, you've got to go back. And you've got to stretch and stretch and stretch. And that has to do with humility. And in order to go forward, you have to actually go back. So that's the balance of netzach, going forward, and then going back, drawing back. The drawing back is very necessary for the process of going forward. And acknowledging and taking the time to acknowledge is really the reason why we will go forward. It's the reason for the progression that we have in our lives. So that's the idea of playing with a bow and arrow. And then obviously we've got the idea of the bonfires. And everywhere you go, especially here in Tzfat and in Meron, there are bonfires lit by tzaddikim, by very great and holy rabbis and tzaddikim and rebbes that they lighted. And it's not just, kids stuff, kids love bonfires and, that stuff. It's very, very deep. Because the whole idea of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is compared to the fire. As we said, the Zohar. Zohar has to do with light, with fire. And within fire, you've got different types of fire within the fire itself. You've got on the inside the fire, which is very still. And then outside of it, it's a little bit more rambunctious. And then on the outside, it's actually like completely just powerful, right? And so too, the revelation, the godly revelation is compared to that. And the godly revelation of the inner secrets of Torah is compared to the idea of light that is able to illuminate the darkness and is very, very powerful. And there are a bunch of other customs that we have on Lag BaOmer. Another one of them is the contributing what is called Chai Rutal, 100 or denominations of 18 towards those that go to Meron, and to actually give them water. And that has to do with the taking part of this celebration. So just like when you go to like a great wedding, you want to be a part of it. You want to make the bride and groom happy. You don't want to just show up. You want to be a part of the celebration. Being a part of the celebration means that you are giving to someone else. And the idea of giving to someone else is very, very powerful. And it's very much interconnected to the whole idea of humility, the whole idea of the secrets of Torah. And for a different time, the whole idea of the Havta l'recha kamocha, loving your neighbor like you love yourself, that the great Rabbi Akiva said, that is really the basis of the entire Torah, the revealed Torah and the mystical Torah. And so the idea of giving, we want to contribute something, the idea of the Chai Rutal for those that are involved in this celebration. And that actually causes hopefully infuses something within those that give that to become connected and to be one with that celebration. If they're there in person or they're not there in person, they could contribute towards that. So I want to end off with a story that connects to that idea of the fire and the visiting of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And the great tzaddik, the Ruzhner, Rabbi Yisrael of Ruzhin, always sent his emissaries every single year to Israel and to Meron to be there on Lag BaOmer and to be involved in the lighting of the bonfire. And up until this day, the main lighting of Meron on Lag BaOmer is lit by one of the descendants of the tzaddik, called the Biala Rebbe, that he lights it. And so one year, one of the emissaries of the tzaddik went there to Israel and then traveled back to Ruzhin, which was in Russia. And the tzaddik asked him, so what did you see? And the emissary said, I didn't really get what I saw, because when I walked off the carriage that took me there, I started traveling up the mountain, walking up the mountain. And at first, on the bottom of the mountain, there were plenty of people, barbecuing, sort of, having that kind of a celebration, eating food and, drinking and whatnot. And you got closer and people were dancing, it was more festive, and you got closer, people were dancing with much more fervor. And you go closer than that, people were dancing with fervor, but it was more silent. And you go, the more he reached closer and closer to the actual tomb of Rashbi, is when it got actually quieter and quieter. And when he got inside the actual tomb, it was completely silent. And he said, I don't get it. Because I would think that you're coming close to the actual tomb itself, then that should be the greatest place of celebration. Why is it that the celebration, the partying, was more and more on the outside? And so the Ruzhner said, that is exactly right. Because that is exactly the whole idea of the Rashbi. The Rashbi is the illumination of this great light to all people on all levels. To those that party on the outside, but all they know is that they're there, they're partying, they're connected to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, great. And within their steaks, within their beers, or wine, whatever they're doing, they're connecting. And then they go closer, and then there's the fiery celebration. Those people are connecting. And you go closer and closer, and then there's that silence. And the Ruzhner said, and that is compared to a fire, because that's what a fire is. When you see a candle, you take a look at a candle. On the inside, the candle is completely still. That blue light is just still, and then on the outside, it's a little bit more, etc. And so Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is this fire, is the Zohar, is illumination, and illumination has many different hues. And so that really, to bring that down to us, that really means that we are all connected on whatever level that we're on, and whatever background we have, whatever knowledge we have, whatever we're connected as long as we want to be connected. Make that connection, and we could be there with Rabbi Shimon in person, in spirit, in will, right? And as long as we have that desire to do so, then we are connected to that great light. So sending you many blessings, and may we all be inscribed for a great year of learning of the inner mystical parts of Torah. And we come to that day, to that time where the entire world will be filled with the knowledge and consciousness of godliness within this world. And looking forward to that day.